started one of Europe's biggest construction projects. The London Super Sewer.
This is a huge undertaking in the centre of London. The scale is just enormous.
A multi-billion-pound feat of engineering extending London's sewer system.
This is exciting. This is the pinnacle of civil engineering. It's the mega projects that get the attention. That's really why I got into engineering.
Designed to transform the River Thames, it's truly groundbreaking.
Some of the things that we are doing here are cutting-edge technology, world-class engineering, so I'm pretty sure a lot of other countries will follow on from this and use this as a set standard.
I came from another major project, but this is next level.
The Super Sewer will bring the existing network into the 21st century. The combined sewer overflows, CSOs, will be connected to 24 deep shafts. Under the ground, 32 kilometres of tunnels will thread their way through the tangle of the city's subterranean infrastructure. At the deepest shaft ever dug in London, sewage will be pumped to the height of Big Ben, up to the largest treatment works in Europe.
Hello guys, my name is Ujjwal, and today in this podcast we are discussing about the topic the London's Victorian sewers are overflowing, and the Thames Tideway Tunnel is the bold solution to that problem. Today we are diving deep into the topic of this podcast will be Thames Tideway Tunnel. My name is Ujjwal and I am the host, lead moderator. The first part will be about the introduction. The theme would be the flush content, context, problem and project goals.
Hello guys, and my name is Ashwin Akash. I'll be speaking about the scope and planning specialist.
Hello all, my name is Akash Sheth and I'll be speaking about the time and risk manager.
Hello guys, my name is Shivani. I'm speaking about stakeholders relationship.
Hello, my name is Sarandeep Singh. I hope you all are good. Now I'm playing a role as a team process lead.
Okay, guys, did you know that until very recently, the London's glorious Victorian era sewage system had a serious dirty little secret, a flush problem of monumental proportions.
Yeah, it sounds unpleasant, but it's alarmingly true. The system was an engineering sewage model in 1860s, designed for roughly 4 million people. But London today has roughly 9 million. It's a huge sum, right? Yeah.
And that math doesn't adds up when it rains.
Exactly. A single heavy downpour used to cause 34 massive combined sewage overflow to bypass the treatment plants and discharge untreated. Raw sewage directly into the River Thames. We are talking millions of tons a year.
Which is horrifying. Welcome to the project Deep Dive. We are tunneling into the solution, one of the UK's most ambitious, complex and expensive infrastructure projects, the Thames Tideway Tunnel, often called the Super Sewer.
And it's crucial to remember this isn't just about construction of pouring concrete. The core purpose here is fundamentally environmental. The goal is to intercept these overflows, clean up the river ecosystem for good, and ensure London meets European environmental standards.
It's a beast of a project. Over the next 25 minutes, we are going to break down this multi-billion pound endeavor using the core principles of project management, analyzing its massive scope, its intricate planning and its high stakes risks and its controls. Let's dive in.
So, guys, now we're going to discuss about planning, scope and contracts. The theme is to define the undefinable WBS, and contractual strategies.
Let's start where every project begins.
Tideway Tunnel's financial journey proved as complex as its engineering. Early estimates put construction at $4.8 billion, plus $1.4 billion for preparatory works. But COVID-19 disruptions added around $300 million. Final costs are now placed between $5.7 and $6.3 billion. To deliver such a vast sum, the government approved a novel model. Instead of Thames Water financing the project directly, a special purpose company, Bazalgette Tunnel Limited, trading as Tideway, was established as a regulated infrastructure provider. Backed by investors such as Allianz and Dalmore Capital, it raised private finance at low cost thanks to a government risk support package. Thames Water customers ultimately contribute through a 20 to 30 pound annual surcharge on bills spread over decades. The official inauguration of the tunnel took place in May 2025, attended by King Charles III, a fitting conclusion to nearly a decade of construction and a century and a half after Bazalgette's original triumph.
So, guys, now we're going to discuss about planning scope and contracts. The theme is to define the undefinable WBS and contractual strategies.
Let's start where every project begins. Ashwin, you are our scope specialist. How do you even begin to wrap your arms around a project buried tens of meters underground in a dense city?
So, the first critical step is indeed defining the scope. And for the TTT, the scope is terrifyingly massive. It's huge. We are talking about a 25-kilometer tunnel, which span the 3 London buses running up to 65 meters beneath the River Thames bed. It is also included connecting 24 major construction sites dotted along with the river banks.
Yeah, managing that level of complexity seems impossible without a rich structure. If you miss one connection point, the whole system fails.
Right, I agree with them. To manage the momentum, the project manager had to create rigorous work breakdown structure. So WBS, this is the deconstruction phase for the Tideway tunnel. They first organized the WBS geographically in 3 major contracts: West, Central, and the East.
Why split it geographically? Why not just one giant contract?
So it is due to the risk distribution and the manageability. No single construction firm wanted to take on the risk of 25 kilometers of London clay and the chalk. By splitting it, they could bring it specialized for the different geologists and ensure the control together.
And how strictly did they break those contracts down further in the WBS?
It is very strictly, like this is where the WBS shines. Each contract were broke down into specific work packages, which is elements like shaft shrinking and blackface. The TMB launches logistics or concrete line installation. The granules WBC allow for the clear allocation of responsibility and crucially accurate cost estimation of each tiny piece of pie.
You mentioned risk distribution. Akash, this sounds like a nightmare for time and risk management.
Oh, absolutely. The scheduling along is a headache. You build a complex Gantt chart upon the WBS, scheduling the sequential tunnel boring machine TBM work, where one delay cascades down the whole 25-kilometer line alongside parallel site preparations, required meticulous planning to meet production deadlines.
Yeah, Akash, but the schedule is only prepared until reality hits. It's about what can go wrong underground.
Exactly. The risk management was central to TTT. They faced huge known unknowns, geological risk, drilling through different, unpredictable state of the earth, and even chronological risk. You can't just bulldoze in Roman unions and explore double World War II ordnance.
How did they plans for things they couldn't see?
They used heavy contingency planning and a very specific contract model. They used something called NEC3 contract, which are designed to collaborate rather than adversarial.
How does that help manage risks?
Instead of the client and contracted fighting over who pays when their things go wrong underground, the contract creates a pain gain share mechanism. If they hit an unexpected sang, they solve it together and share a cost overrun. If they finish early under budget, they share the profit with inconvenient enormous transparency regarding risk right from the start. And now we are going to talking about the integration and stakeholders. Then the theme is connecting the dots and managing the city.
I want to touch back on something Ashwin said about the three separate geographical sections. Akash, surely connecting those three different sections built by different consortiums was a major flashpoint.
Yeah, it was arguably the biggest critical success factor CSF for the engineering standpoint. They had managed the integration of these three main contractors to ensure those 25-kilometer tunnel section made seamlessly underground, sometimes with only millimeter of tolerance.
Yeah, they actually established a separate system integrator role just to manage the interference between the contracts. So they that's how high the risk misaligned was.
Amazing. Okay, we have talked about the tunnels below ground. Let's move above the ground. This project happened right in the middle of one of the busiest metropolises on earth. Shivani, how did they handle the person?
Okay, few projects affect a major global city as directly and visibly as the Thames Tideway Tunnel (TTT). Stakeholder management was paramount and frankly exhausting.
Who were the key players on that list?
It's a massive power interest grid. Key stakeholders included Thames Water, they are the client, and the Environment Agency, they are the regulator, and other stakeholders like local borough councils, transport authorities, local business along the river, and of course, millions of London residents.
Yeah, I can imagine the resident living next to 24 hours drilling site. We weren't thrilled about the noises.
That was the main challenge. Physical reception at those 24 construction sites, many in posh, dense residential areas. The project team couldn't just issue orders, they had to continuously communicate. It required demonstrating effective listening and respect to maintain public support or at least tolerance.
So, decide, announce, defend wasn't an option.
Absolutely not. Transparency was vital. They had 24 by 7 helplines, community liaison officers at every site, and regular town halls.
Did they offer anything positive to the stakeholders, or was it just mitigation of bad news?
Oh, that's a great point, Ujjwal. They absolutely did. They focused heavily on the legacy aspect. It wasn't just about a sewer, it was about creating new public spaces. Seven of the shaft sites along the Thames are being turned into new landscaped foreshore structures, public plazas jutting out into the river. Selling that long term vision was crucial to getting short term buy in for the disruption.
Project of this scale inevitably drew criticism. Cost escalation was a recurring theme, with opponents pointing to the $5.7 to $6.3 billion bill ultimately passed to households already facing high utility costs. Executive pay fueled controversy when Tideway's CEO received a £600,000 raise in 2025, despite cost overruns, reinforcing concerns over profit versus public interest. Engineering posed challenges too. Tunneling beneath heritage buildings, the underground, and dense districts was complex, while construction disrupted riverside communities. COVID-19 added delays and safety hurdles. Environmental campaigners questioned whether greener surface-level drainage systems could replace the tunnel, though engineers argued London's density made a deep interceptor essential. The debate highlighted a paradox. Mega projects are costly and contentious, yet often
Okay, now we are going into the internal team management and application. The theme is applying PM principles to group work and overcoming hurdles.
Okay, We have spent a lot of time analyzing the giant beast that is the Thames Tideway Tunnel. But for this podcast, we also had to apply these very same principles to our own small scale group project. Now, Sharon, as our process lead, tell us about our internal mechanics.
It's interesting because obviously, on a much smaller scale, our own project mirrored these organizational challenges. We had a deadline, our defined scope, this podcast, and limited resources, our time. To ensure our distinction level result, we could not just wing it. We followed a clear ground protocol.
Yeah, Sharon, we definitely tried to bring it in the first meeting, and it was totally chaos.
We realized quickly we needed structure. We defined roles based on our strengths. Ashwin on research, Akash on scheduling, etc., and allocated responsibilities to ensure the work was distributed eventually. It was our own mini WBS.
How did we track that? Practically, we didn't have complex project management software.
We kept it simply but rigorous. We recorded all outcomes, including specifically who was responsible for which task and by when, in our weekly minutes of meeting. Documentation. This record keeping is critical for tracking performance and ensuring accountability. If was not in the mom, it did not happen.
Yeah, we actually hit a snag that required some PM thinking, won't we? Regarding the scope of the research.
That's right. About halfway through, we realized we had too much information on the engineering and not enough on the management aspects. We were suffering from scope creep, getting distracted by cool tunnel boring machine facts.
Okay, how did we resolve that?
We had to revisit our initial project charter and realign. We used a meeting to aggressively cut content that did not serve the core learning outcomes of the assessment. It was a mini change control process. We had to sacrifice some interesting content to stay on schedule and on brief. Finally, the group work policy mandates an individual element. This podcast performance to ensure fairness and recognize individual contributions alongside the group effort. Now we would introduce our conclusion and reflection, theme, lesson learned, and final thought.
The benefits of the Thames Tideway Tunnel are already clear. Its greatest impact is environmental, capturing around 95% of sewage that once entered the Thames and reducing overflows to just a few days per year, even during heavy storms. Early operations showed it storing hundreds of thousands of cubic meters in a single rainfall event, flows that previously devastated the river's ecology. Cleaner water now supports fish, improves safety for rowers and boaters, and lowers public health risks, giving the Thames a chance to recover as a healthy urban river. The project also delivers civic and cultural gains. 7 foreshore sites have been transformed into public spaces, including the Bazalgette embankment. Ventilation columns inscribed with poetry highlight how infrastructure can enrich culture. Economically, it has created thousands of jobs and apprenticeships, while barge transport of spoil reduced emissions and created new habitats. Importantly, the tunnel strengthens London's resilience against climate-driven storms. The Thames Tideway Tunnel represents London's commitment to protecting its river and investing in infrastructure for future generations. It is designed to endure for more than a century, shielding Londoners from pollution and safeguarding the Thames as the city's defining natural feature. Though costly and controversial, the alternative, allowing millions of tons of sewage to enter the river annually, was untenable. By completing the tunnel, London has future-proofed its wastewater system, restored the river's health, and created new public spaces that will long outlast the disruption of construction. Looking
We
ahead,
are coming up upon time. To summarize, the Thames Tideway Tunnel really provides a masterclass in modern project management under extreme pressure.
For me, it's highly that you can't overstate the value of meticulous upfront of planning to detailed WBS. You can't eat an elephant in one bite.
And aggressive, collaborative risk mitigation, admitting what you don't know about the underground, and containing specifically to handle that uncertainty was brilliant.
Plus, highly effective stakeholder engagement, realizing that the soft skills of managing community perception are just as hard and just as critical as the engineering prowess.
It shows that the fundamentals of project management, from defining scope and managing time to leading and following within a team and even handling scope creep, is a student meeting scale up.
Exactly. Whether it's a 25-kilometer super saver beneath London or a 25-minute group podcast, the principle remain the same. Structure sets you free.
Okay, a perfect place to end it. Now, this has been the project deep dive by our group. Thanks to my panel of their for their insights, and thank you for listening and joining our journey into the fundamentals of project management. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.